Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome back to MCubed. It's Cinema Scoop Wednesday. We've got some fun stuff to cover. Actually, I'm not really entirely sure exactly what we're covering, but that's going to be half the fun of the day. Because I think we probably talked about it to a degree, huh?
Yeah, we covered most of it at the end of the last live video, but really want to talk about what it means.
Delving into it.
How do we actually think that it could possibly work?
Let's see. Well, howdy, sci-fi. Howdy, everybody here.
I
didn't type my howdy.
Do you want me to run through what we said again?
Yeah, let's do it. A little recap.
So, basically, I was talking to somebody that I know that works in and around the PR, that works that does PR for Amazon, MGM, what have you. And I was sort of saying to them, I've done a couple of videos recently saying, look, it's going to take 2 years. We're waiting for the strikes, blah, blah, blah. So apparently they, as part of their preparation, they're saying, right, these are the projects that are coming up. What are the penciled in dates for development, etc.? When do we need to start doing our job? You know, the PR, the getting people excited, blah, 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 blah. And they basically said, we're assuming these have been pushed back. Okay. And the answer from Amazon was, why? So they said, well, they're not being pushed back because of the strikes. And again, the answer was Amazon was, no, why would they be? So that means the Stargate penciled in date is still spring 2024, which is 18 months at most.
Yes.
So the question I have.
Okay.
Now, obviously, the PR people then can't start asking, how are you doing that? And start asking questions. They just go, okay, that's the penciled in date. So this is, and then they start working on their proposal for the time frame. What are they going to do between now and then to get people very excited about this? And they've basically said it's the same for RoboCop. I believe that's summer 2024, but don't quote me on that because I have to admit I was a little bit, when they said this to me. I'll have to check the email. And Legally Blonde was the other one. And there's a Creed TV series coming as well. Ooh. And that is also penciled in for the same period. So all of these things. So like I said, the assumption was from the PR people that they would say 18 months from when the strike ends or this date plus blah, 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 for when the strike ends. But the intention seems to be to keep to the existing plan for these releases. As I say, my first question is how?
Well, okay, the how, my brain goes to two different things immediately, and we've talked about both. Is the first thing that I guess my brain goes to is going to be international. Obviously, Canada is not the U.S., so you can do you have some leeway there. But with primarily U.S.-based actors and SAG-based actors, how do you manage that bit?
Well, hasn't the actors in things said they're not striking, but aren't they acting in sort of like agreement sort of thing?
Solidarity and stuff.
They're not on strike, are they? They're standing with them. So again, I don't know how that would work.
The other thing my brain goes to is this the animated SGU movie, the follow-up, and they already have it almost ready?
No, because they were specifically talking about the Untitled cinematic movie. And that's what she calls it to me. There's the Untitled cinematic movie. Mm-hmm. If it was, now I've asked her about the animated movie, and they basically said that wouldn't be their team that did that. So it's possible that that's happening, but she wouldn't know anything about it. And I've just said she about 3 times. Forget I said that. He.
She, he, they, you know. It's 2023.
So they've said that, look, they don't manage that. They do feature films and streaming movies. That's their job. So this would be the cinematic movie, and it is the Untitled cinematic project. I suppose it could be the animated movie, but they're not going to put an animated movie at the cinema. No chance.
Oh, I mean, why not, though?
I'd be shocked. I imagine they'll go the same route as they've done with like the Babylon 5 movie and stuff like this, where it'll get a DVD release and virtual and streaming. Where you have to be able to paywall, you have to pay for it to stream it. That's what they'll do with that, I think, because they'll follow the Warner Brothers regenerations. So they'll follow the Warner Brothers model for the animated movie, and that's basically what I've been told they're doing. It's Warner Brothers that are making it, and they'll be released through Amazon Prime. I mean, so my only other thinking is, are they making it in Eastern Europe, and are they basically going to be using English and European actors?
Which would mean a lack of some of our original cast and crew.
Yeah. Unless the thinking is we film the bulk of it and then we add bits. So, you know what I mean? There's going to be cameos or whatever by Amanda Tapping, Michael Shanks, whoever else, but film the rest of the film. I mean, I know they do this with things like when Michelle Yeoh was in Star Trek, they couldn't get her on set when they needed her because she was doing so many other things. So what they used to do was they would just get her in for a couple of days and they would film all of the face stuff, everything. They're just pointing the camera at her. All of the scenes that you think she's in, it's just the back of somebody's head, and it's just a woman, and it's not Michelle Yeoh a lot of the time. But they do that loads in films to get around.
And a lot recently too, like Spider-Man 3, the newer one, comes to mind where Cumberbatch, or was it the second one? Whichever one Cumberbatch is in, I think it's the second one. He's in the third one. Yeah, whatever it is, wherever Spidey beats him with math. That's what I'm thinking of. Mm-hmm. They weren't available, and they never shot a scene together in that entire movie, apparently, which is completely doable if you have the technology and the capabilities of managing that.
And I'm trying to get the name of that guy that's just been. I've got him. So it is just planning ahead. So if you do the bulk of your filming with stand-ins for the American actors, as long as there's not too many, you could film 90% of the movie.
You could. I mean, yeah, if you're filming it with stand-ins the entire time, it's doable. Not necessarily like easy, but it wasn't going to be easy one way or another, so it's doable. And while we're striking, while the strikes are going on, they have nothing but time to plan.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of stretching it out. And that would maybe then make sense on where we think we've seen sets in Poland. We think we've seen things, this, we can't, I'm not betting the house on it, but the source was pretty convinced that's what they saw. It does make sense from talking to a couple of other people. MGM have worked in Eastern Europe a lot. So if it was in Poland or somewhere like that, this, like I say, friend of the channel says, yeah, completely. And the MGM have got good links in those areas. So again, it could be done. We would still be in the pre-production stage at the moment anyway. So again, the thinking might be, we're not going to start filming until March anyway, but that would then be 12 to 15 months until cinemas. That would be tight.
That would be very tight.
I mean, 6 months for film and 6 months for post-production, basically, would be... But 3 to 4 months for filming, though, is doable. 8 months for post-production is doable for sci-fi. I mean, particularly, again, if you've got all of it, a lot of your pre-stuff done. So, if there's a lot of CGI stuff, things done beforehand.
So if this is the case, do you think they're already filming, technically?
I would be surprised if they were. I think as soon as we start filming, we'll know about it.
Okay.
So I think they'll hold off filming until the strikes end, even if they've cast everybody and started rehearsals even somewhere quiet, and then but they could be building sets and things. The idea being basically the second the strikes end, you film. Or the problem is if they start filming, if they've got a schedule to this, and they're going to basically get around the strikes, I'm wondering whether they're hoping that if they wait long enough and then start, but basically do an announcement to say, because these strikes have gone on so long, we have acted in good faith, but this is still going on. And I mean, even you've said you're sick to death of these strikes now, and okay, enough's enough sort of thing. They could be gambling that public opinion will go in their favor, and that people will sort of go like, actually, you know what, I do want, and they could actually say, look, we've got to start filming now, or this film ain't coming out. We can't do it else. And if they do that, maybe there'd be enough public opinion to go, great, good on you, get round them.
I mean, we are in film circles and talk film all the time, so it is very much pro-union talk. But if you just look in the average news outlet, whether it be any kind of political side or whatever, the average news outlet is like, what the hell is Hollywood doing? Nobody outside of Hollywood or people that are like in the film kind of industry or like to keep up with it the way that we do understand what's going on. And you know, makes sense to a degree, but
a lot don't even know it's happening, mate. I mentioned it to somebody at work the other day, and they're like, "What strikes? What are you on about? Oh, they're striking again." Yeah, I thought everyone knew that, and they're like, "Okay."
I know it's wild.
Like, so I think that there are a couple of possibilities on how this is happening. The Creed series, I don't see how that is unless they were never planning. Unless again, the assumption is we don't have to start filming till March, and it'll definitely be over by then. And that's the assumption. Legally Blonde 3, because we've got to talk about that, obviously.
The most exciting of them. I wore pink, not because of Barbie, but for Legally Blonde 3.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even care about Stargate. When I'm talking about Stargate, it's just because I get moaned at if I talk about Legally Blonde 3 too much. But a lot of the pre-production stuff was done. That was supposed to go into production ages ago. It was only the sale that slowed it down. So in MGM, we're about to go to principal photography on that nearly a year ago. So that's ready to go. But you can't film that without Reese Witherspoon.
No, and she's going to stand in solidarity one way or another.
So my only thinking is that the plan there is that that's not out till I'm pretty sure they told me Christmas next year. But post-production on that would be pretty quick.
Oh,
it's just editing.
There is no post-production besides editing, really. Yeah, it's just sequencing.
So, it may just be that they're going. This will be over by March. We'll film. We'll be done. We'll be in cinemas early 2025. No bother. But obviously the Stargate is a little bit more difficult. Or like I said, they're doing post-production now. Because I mean, in theory, it's not how you do it, but in theory, you could do a load of the CGI beforehand.
Oh yeah, big time. It is a planning thing, and if Amazon and Prime have been working alongside these VFX houses a little more nicely than a lot of the other companies have, they wouldn't have reason to be. Obviously, some have unionized against Marvel, but it's Marvel specifically. So all these other houses are still working technically.
Yeah, well, we're looking at a German production company for the CGI. So it'll be efficient. It'll be on time.
Yeah.
It'll be high tech, and there are ways around that. The other thing that you can cut a lot of corners with is if you use a virtual soundstage. Now, Amazon already have got one. So, and that's basically a soundstage with a massive LED TV in the background.
Yeah,
massive one.
Like Mandalorian, Kenobi, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they've already started using these, but Amazon own the largest one in the world over at Culver Studios. I think what's his name? His name's gone out my head. Axel Foley. Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy's been filming a film there recently, so that'll obviously be a massive hit. But if you're using that rather than sets, that allows you to do bits and bobs. I'm thinking there, if you've then got to do the stand-in bits with Amanda and Michael and Richard Dean Anderson, whoever, that might allow you to do it later really, really quickly and really, really easily if you're using something like that, where you don't have to build sets. So the sets are all built over here. You film it. You'd probably break those sets down, but then you can use the virtual soundstage over at Culver to do those bits you need to do to fill the rest of the movie. The other thing you could do, though, and it's straight up, is just not have them in the film. Just don't do it.
And focus on a smaller kind of story or something like that. I mean, because Laura is right over here. If U.S. SAG actors or SAG-based actors do anything, they would be forfeiting their union, and it would be for their entire careers, which it would hurt, but it doesn't necessarily hurt them. It would, though. It just lessens the amount of projects they could take.
That's the problem, is that they'd never be able to join SAG-AFTRA. And that's the problem, is that a lot of British actors are members of SAG because they want to work in America. So that does cause a problem. You're basically having to get these actors to basically say they will never work in America. They'd be stupid to, surely.
The only people I can see like signing up for that are not seasoned actors by any means. They would have to be younger actors or actors that
basically actors that aren't members now, aren't they? And then would SAG-AFTRA like punish them later?
Oh yeah, they would immediately be blacklisted.
So they're basically saying you're never working in America. If that's
Which
what they do.
I'm gonna one thing that I'm very just disheveled by SAG in general about is you do one thing bad and they will blacklist you from ever working again in your dream careers, and there are still opportunities like that. But from someone that lives out here and has worked out here and is trying to become union and do all these different things, I have 2 out of my 3 SAG vouchers to be a member of SAG. They keep you from getting jobs just as much as they get people jobs. They actually keep more people from getting jobs in this city, in this state, in this country than they've ever gotten anyone jobs. They're handy. They can help people on set, and they do good things for their members. But if you're not a member, you're nothing to them. And honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing a little non-union stuff pop up a little bit more because of that. I'm tired of these strikes going on the way they have, and I don't think either side, of course, have neither side is fully right. I think they need to meet in the middle and actually discuss.
Neither have handled this as well as they should have done.
No, and for the moral high ground that the actors and the writers have taken, I don't think it's proper at all. They haven't actually taken a moral high ground, and to put it in the public like they have, that throws the people that don't follow this information the way we do into a loop whenever they get into it. They're like, why are these stuck-up actors and writers acting like this? It's just not being human. Now, let's be human, get in a discourse together, and actually figure this stuff out, or let's find new ways to make stuff. We don't have to make stuff the same ways. SAG and WJ are old. Yeah. Old. Replace them with another union. I guarantee you there are enough actors right now that are pissed off enough that would be like, you know what? Let's just form something of our own. And then use all the stipulations SAG has had, and then let's do it. It's the internet age. You could do that in literally a week. Yeah. You do it in a month, you have even more stuff set up, you know?
And then say maybe the studios, I mean, because at the moment the studios have this deal, don't they, with SAG-AFTRA and whatever, and that you need to be union to do certain projects and things. Maybe the studios at some point just go, we're not working with you anymore.
Yeah.
We've had enough.
Peter makes a really good point here. They'd be replaced overnight.
There's enough people that want to do it.
Yeah, no one's compromising at all on either side, and it's just screwy. But strikes aside.
Well, there is one other rumor, and I've got to put it down very much as rumor, that I was told that I'm wondering if is to do with this or is involved in why Amazon is so confident. Obviously, Amazon, from the studio point of view, they're going to know more about what's going on in the negotiations.
Yes.
The one person said to me was that basically he believes the studio has a cutoff point, at which point they are willing to wait this long, and then at that point they will make a deal by hook or by crook. They will basically give in to certain demands, and that's already been agreed internally between the studios. And obviously Amazon will know when that date is.
Yeah.
So the one suggestion by this chap was basically, or could be a girl, that Amazon know when that date is, so they're preparing everything for that date, basically, and say it's January 1st. I've actually heard it's March 1st, but that's again just it's his opinion. He reckons it's about that. He says spring keeps getting mentioned a lot, and
arbitrary till we know, I guess.
Well, yeah. So unless something changes in between, obviously, because negotiations are going on. So he's basically said they're trying to outweigh the writers and the actors, they're trying to basically wait until the financial impact is so heavy they can get a bit more. But there is a point that they are not willing to go past. And that date has been agreed by the studios. And obviously Amazon know when that date is. So Amazon know they're going to be able to get back to work after that date. So that's why all of the preparation work is being done. Maybe more of the CGI is being, maybe they're getting post-production stuff done, you know, planning, blah, 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 because they know they're going to be able to start filming April, you know, and they know they're going to be able to, because this has already been internally basically agreed. They have a plan. Now, that is the idea that I think makes most sense. I think getting actors in to go against SAG-AFTRA would be
difficult.
It's possible, but maybe. I think it is the future. I think this strike has only weakened the unions, and Hollywood would love to break them. The UK unions have been destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think will be happening next. The studios will do everything they can to break the studios. Should break the unions now.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're at that point now. I can't see that they'd be planning for that.
No,
but they might. And
I think the idea is
there are ways it could be done.
Yes.
I think it's most likely though that Amazon are just doing they're putting all of their, again, they're getting all this work done so that the second the strikes end, and they know roughly when that's going to be, they can get the filming done and get the movie out within 6 months. So I think it'll be a record break, and I think it'll be filming to move it to cinemas in like 12 months.
Just hit the ground running
for loads of projects because all the work's done, all the thing. And then that would explain why we've got a couple of rumors that sets, etc., are being built, because they're getting all the work done, they're getting all the prep done. So we don't know this. Like I say, this is rumor. It's a couple of people's opinion, but obviously it's people that work in the industry. But that goes into though the interesting thing that happened a couple of days ago, that Amazon and MGM have hired a new head of feature film production.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to try and say his name. Peter Oilatagere. Oilatagere. Something like that. It's that guy. So now it's interesting that it's feature film production. All right, so that would be heavily cinematic. Doesn't necessarily mean it won't be streaming, but Claudia Valentini is the head of streaming film, and she's actually the head of film production. This guy, who used to work for Spyglass, who's worked on loads of projects for Amazon already, actually. Let's have a quick look.
Do we know exactly how he correlates with Valentini and like Selke and all these different people?
So he works alongside Valentini.
Okay.
And he works directly for he reports to basically Jennifer Selke and the chap above her. It does actually say in this interview who he reports to. Which I should have read earlier. Blah blah blah. Spider says. Oh, so he reports directly to Dan Scharf, who's the head of global business operations, and he works closely with Claudia Valentini, head of film and streaming, and obviously then that guy reports into Jennifer Selke above, so he's like 2 steps down from Selke. So so Valentini is sort of in charge of getting stuff green lit, deciding what is actually going to get done, deciding timeframes, deciding budgets, agreeing things like this in cooperation with Valentini, with obviously the other managers and things. This guy's job is basically like the actual getting it done. So that's what this guy's job is.
He's a doer, a fixer.
He's a doer, and he's got a really good history in the past of getting shit done. Nice. The way I've been told is that this bringing this guy in was never really the plan. When Claudia Valentini came in, that was it pretty much. That was them. This was the team. But all of this, all the strikes and stuff, and they're going to have such a backlog. And Amazon desperately want to take over film. Basically, they want to be a big cinema player. Yes. They want to be a big studio like Paramount, and they want to be considered in the same name as these big companies. And to do that, they've realized, for one, in the short term, they're desperately going to need to organize all of these big projects, but also in the long term, they needed somebody with that bit more experience on the actual doing side. And this just leads even more into what we were saying, is that they're not going to be looking for a partner anymore to make these projects. So we were really worried that Stargate was going to be like a Sony movie or Warner Brothers and go with Bad Robot. And that's what they were looking at early on.
Mm-hmm.
This is another indicator that they're not going to be doing that.
I like that.
Yeah, they're getting a practical team in. But 4 or 5 months ago, there was no intention of bringing this guy in. It's a right strikes. Let's not let the strikes slow us down. We need somebody in to get us through this.
I did just Google him. He does have history with MGM as well. He did No Time to Die. He did RoboCop 2014, The Rundown 2003. Lately, he's done a bunch of horror movies. He did Hellraiser last year.
2014 was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to think. Yeah, The Upside. He did the most likely Scream movie. He worked on Hellraiser, Incoming. He worked on Project Runway, which is he's worked on the Bond franchise, which is no surprise.
That helps him.
No Time to Die. He's worked on the Creed franchise.
Oh, really? Okay. Which I like the idea of a Creed TV show. I don't necessarily like the idea of a Creed TV show without another film being announced as well. Obviously, these aren't like truly announced just yet, but
yeah,
I could feel it being in the vein of a Cobra Kai show, like they did for Karate Kid and everything like that, and just kind of like going off of the popularity and the love of that, just because Cobra Kai is about to end.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they did Cobra Kai without a new Karate Kid movie coming anytime soon, but with Creed, I feel like I don't know exactly how they introduce that. Is it just going to be Michael B. Jordan's gym now? Or are they doing Creed's gym, or are they doing Rocky's gym? How are they? There are a lot of questions because there is so much history in that. Where Karate Kid had 4 films, it's easy to kind of jump on those 2 older actors that are like, all right, yeah, we've got this, and it makes sense there. I don't know exactly how you make it make sense with Creed.
Creed's storyline is going to be, it was hinted in the last movie, apparently it's going to be his daughter.
Daughter? Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, his deaf daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't need to hear a punch come into duck. So, no. But that I think that's the most likely, unless they change their mind. Again, they want a continuation, not a hard reboot, so that's why it won't be Rocky. There is a potential idea to reboot Rambo. We'll see how that works. But
well, you know who, just not to derail or anything, but Quentin Tarantino talked about doing a Rambo movie in the last couple of years, and he said if he were to do it, he would do it with Adam Driver as Rambo, which would be great. Because Adam Driver was a high-level Marine before he dropped out.
Yeah, he was a Marine.
Yeah.
Okay, he doesn't look like. I can't see it, but sometimes those are the most genius. Sometimes those are the most genius casting ones are the ones that you go, really? And sometimes the ones that I was talking about this with the A-Team, right? I'm going to hint on a video I've got coming up on Friday. There might be some talk about rebooting the A-Team, right?
What?
But there's loads more to it than that. Honestly, the full story is mental. The video on Friday.
I'm sorry, that was bad. I couldn't help but laugh for a second.
I think somebody would have to wave at her. Flash a light.
Get a visual cue.
Yeah. Hit the person. Yeah. You know when to fight, when the other person runs over to you and punches you in the face. Then we've rang the bell. But yeah, they'll have to tap her on the shoulder or something. But anyway.
Well, they do the little pump thing, so I guess that would. Yeah.
So I forgot what I was saying about. So right, but the A-Team revival a couple of years ago, I was saying when I heard that Leslie Nielsen, no, not Leslie Nielsen, because he's the comedy one, isn't he? I always get his name wrong. The guy that played Hannibal in the A-Team movie, and he's it's not Leslie Nielsen.
The old A-Team or the newer A-Team?
The new A-Team movie. I always say Leslie Nielsen, and it's not.
I can't ever think of anybody besides Liam frickin' Neeson, honestly.
I will. Just a second. I will look it up because it's Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson.
Oh, so was Liam Neeson.
When I
The one
heard
guy
Liam
did say.
Neeson was in the movie, I was like, that makes no freaking sense.
Yeah.
That's going to be stupid. And he was brilliant in it. He was fantastic.
He's great.
Bradley Cooper as Templeton Peck, I thought was genius casting, and he was kind of crap. And so, you know, it's just like, the Quentin Jackson guy. So I'm reading. I've googled it. That played Mr. T. When I saw that, I thought that was brilliant, and he was crap. And the guy that played Face Man, that's the South African actor who I adore. Yeah, and he was rubbish.
Yeah. Really?
So the one bit of casting I thought was stupid was the best bit in the film. And the rest of the cast, I thought the Face Man casting was bad, to be fair. But I thought Bradley Cooper was genius for Face Man, and it didn't work for me. My opinion,
I just didn't enjoy it. I think I've cut that movie out of my memory so much.
It was just too generic. It was too formulaic, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
And it forgot what the A-Team was. And at no point were the A-Team locked into a shed, and at no point did they build a tank out of things they found in that shed. And if you've got an A-Team movie and you don't build a tank out of stuff in a shed, at some point you're doing something wrong.
There got to be just a gist of MacGyverness, you know, not too much, but just a gist.
Cabbage gun, boom, done. And everyone should get shot repeatedly, but nobody gets even remotely injured. That's all.
Quite excellent.
Four machine guns, and everyone's there just going, "Oh, it's missing. I'm absolutely fine. They got blanks." But the video on Friday. Honestly, mate, I'll tell you about it. It's if this is basically executives, it's particularly in the TV studios, not so much the movies, because the movies they seem to be just planning and you know, I think they're ducks in a row. But in TV studios, they've cancelled quite a bit. Swamp Gas Dynamite, of course. They've cancelled quite a bit, and they seem to be sat twiddling their thumbs, going, "What do we own? What can we do? What scripts have we got sat around?" And they're just, all these executives are just pitching mental ideas. And I swear to God, an executive has pitched to Netflix to do a Snakes on a Plane rebooted series. The only reason that film worked was Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
It was the stupidest movie, but an executive has honestly pitched it, and it didn't get very far apparently. But
good. Okay,
they're just like, "What do we own? What do we own? Right, we own Snakes on a Plane. Right, what can we do with it? Netflix will buy that." And they generally pitch it, but there's these ridiculous. I think it's a lot of executives trying to justify their existence, so they're all trying to come up with the next big idea, and.
Well, that's anti-justifying their existence. If you got this time to come up with crazy ideas, come up with some cool, crazy idea. Maybe original, maybe fresh. But if it's an IP thing, don't reboot, don't revamp, don't do whatever. Make it work within something that's already existing there, so it doesn't necessarily take away from.
Yeah, I don't mind the odd. There are certain things that I'm okay with rebooting or remaking. Right? Because I think Highlander. If the Henry Cavill rumor with Highlander, I think that is just perfect. That is perfectly ready for a remake, because they fucked it up. You know, they had this brilliant initial movie and then they fucked it up. And what they have to do when Henry Cavill comes up, you must not say there will be only one, because there won't be. Because if it's remotely successful, there will be at least 3,
and include aliens immediately.
Well, yeah, exactly. Exactly, aliens immediately. But what they can't do is paint themselves into a corner like they did with the first one.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm sure they won't, because they'll be thinking franchise. Cool. But that's one movie that I would love to see remade.
There are a few, and then there's some like Little Women or.
So did you know 5 times?
Yeah, 5 times. What's the one that I guess is Christian Bale in Little Women? He's in one of the Little Women, isn't he? Oh, the Bradley Cooper Stars Born's been done 4 or 5 times. There are a couple of movies that
I've never watched Little Women or The Stars Born. So I am watching that.
They are classics.
And I would basically have to be with a new girlfriend who really wanted to watch it, and I haven't slept with her yet. for me to watch Little Women. Or I watched The Notebook just because the girl at the time hadn't slept with me yet. I was thinking, I'm going to pretend to be sensitive this evening and see if that works.
Are you married to that girl now?
My first wife.
Well, it worked for a little bit.
It worked for a little bit, and then she went crazy. But that's a little bit more personal information than I should be sharing.
What?
Cut that out. Cut that out. Right? We're not live. Cut that out. Cut that out.
What's a live stream? Never heard of it. Hire Scott to play a Spaniard with a weird accent.
Yes. That's what I got. I want to get the guy from Star Trek Atlantis, the Scottish fella. We said his name the other day, and I can't remember his name.
Paul McGillion?
Yeah, let's get Gilliam to do it.
But he's not even Scottish, right?
No.
I whenever y'all said that, you blew my brain. I was just like, what?
It's a terrible Scottish accent, mate. If you
I know, but like I just got so used to it over time. I don't know.
Yeah. There were certain films that, right, they were gonna there was a plan to remake The Flight of the Navigator, right? Which is a film. I love that movie.
I adore it.
And the special effects stand up because they kept them simple. The special
and practical.
Still good. Yeah. They're still really good. Even the CGI bits stand up. So never, ever, ever remake that movie. But there were plans to a couple of years ago and they got scrapped. And there's films like it's the one where they end up in a Explorers or something like that it's called. And it's the three kids and they go in they get a waltzer car and they build a thing that's got a shield around it and then it goes home and it's the alien, but it's a young kid. I think like River Phoenix or something like that was in it.
The Outsiders?
No. Something like the Explorers it was called. I
don't know, but anything River Phoenix ever did was amazing.
1985, The Explorers.
Okay.
It was Ethan Hawke, River Phoenix, and Jason Preston were all in it. And it was, they basically found this alien technology and they built it and it created a shield and it went home. But then the end of the movie is basically that the alien is actually just a child himself and his mom and dad come back and they're really angry at him. Oh. It's a brilliant classic movie and there was plans to remake that a couple of years ago. And I'm just like, no.
Good. I've never seen that, but it sounds great.
It's a bit of a movie of two halves. Okay. You are the navigator. I love it the bit when he gets electrocuted in Flight of the Navigator and he goes a bit crazy. Such a brilliant movie.
I just think of Atreyu. No. I just think of Atreyu when it comes to. Did we pause for a second? Hello? Uh-oh. What is going on? What is going on? Is it who can you still see? Because Jay said he lost me, but then Jay stopped moving on my screen. Reboot him. Who are we rebooting? We hear you? Is that me? You just hear me or you see me? Reboot. Okay, I'm gonna hop out and hop back in. See if that works. Jay's buffering. I'm not. Okay. Yeah. So I stay. You see me. Okay. Jay's buffering. Can I remove him and then add him to stage? I see and hear hairs. Okay, nice. Reboot. Well, while Jay's just kind of like vaguely listening to us in the ether somewhere, Reboot is rebooting Blue Thunder. This is our new terminology for specifically the Blue Thunder reboot. Rebooting. And we're gonna make it a very common term. Let's put it in the Oxford Dictionary 2024, I think, right? Or should we just add it into the 2023 edition? I don't know if they've come out with it just yet or not. But we've got options. We've got opportunities. And we shall take advantage of them. Seize them, as some people say. And rebooting. Well, it's not great for everything, but when it comes to Blue Thunder, I'm still not that familiar with Blue Thunder, but rebooting is my new favorite verbiage. It is. But okay, while we're here, I know I had to skip this because we were talking. But how about that episode of Ahsoka with some awesome Stargate vibes? And I know Quest was talking about it as well. Woo! I don't know. We all saw our afterthoughts yesterday. Afterthoughts went really well. It was a little shorter than usual, but it was a really good one. And oh my god, I mean, I didn't bring it up because nobody else is really like Stargate oriented with the people that I was streaming with yesterday. But Ahsoka had some Stargate vibes. It was great. It was excellent. Of course, we immediately started talking Star Wars.
Of course you did. I haven't seen this week's Ahsoka yet, so don't.
So everyone put as many spoilers as you can, or no spoilers, either one, you know?
I will try and come back
Episode
on my
5 was better? Probably.
Okay.
I loved episode 6. It was very lore building, which I love world building stuff, you know? I've literally have 2 different things telling me how to world build actual full worlds within my room. So, yeah, I'm a fan.
I don't hate it.
Hate which one? Ahsoka?
Ahsoka. As generally speaking, I just don't hate it.
Good.
Calm down. Don't like it, but I don't hate. No, it's all right. I think it might be my favorite Star Wars series behind the second series of Mandalorian.
That's understandable.
I love the second series of Mandalorian. The first series was brilliant, but it took too long to get going for me. It's like 3 episodes in. No, there's nobody else here. My broadband's just gone down. It's just stopped.
All of Jay's neighbors are on his Wi-Fi. That's what's going on.
Yeah, but I can't even access StreamYard.
Really?
Won't let me access it. I can't get back on StreamYard at all on my computer. It's letting me now, actually. So if I go back and get the link, I might be able to rejoin there. But yeah, it completely went. But oh well, this is the joy of life. It'd be boring if it always worked.
You know, we need a little
losing you again.
Something. Are we losing you? Well, at least you're smiling this time. You're stuck on a smile. I think we can still hear you. Say something. Oh my God! There's so many J's. Is this Jayception?
My laptop's working again.
There we go. We'll put you smiling on the bottom just so we still have smiling Jay down here.
Just kick me out. Kick that bottom one out. It should have gone because I've closed it, but it obviously hasn't.
It's just a beautiful smile. You were just so genuinely happy right there.
I'm so happy. I'm always happy.
We've been talking about a reboot.
Reboot, eh?
A reboot?
Reboot is to make Canadian. A reboot.
No, I got tongue-tied the other day, and we were talking about Blue Thunder because you had just released that video, and I was like, that actually sounds fun. I've never watched Blue Thunder, and then I said rebloot it instead of like the Blue Thunder, and it became a thing. That is my new favorite word. Reboot.
I like the idea of the Blue Thunder reboot. I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, that's one that I would actually pretty much enjoy.
I did turn it off and then back on again. So it's got to be done. Let's stay to my spare room where I film. Look, by the way,
that smile's creepy. I thought it was a beautiful smile. I thought it was beautiful.
I've been told I have a nice smile, so fuck you.
He was Sokar, aka the devil, so he might just be trolling.
Well, I genuinely had a girl at work once go, "Oh, you've actually got quite a nice smile." And I was like, "So I thought what's that mean?" Goes, well,
yeah, you were like, actually, like what?
Yeah, she went, "You've actually got a nice smile." Like I was thinking, and they went, "You're a bit fat, aren't you?" And it turned out my brain is not working tonight. She was very black and white anyway, so she would say exactly what she thought. She was on the spectrum sort of thing.
Type A, straightforward.
Not as bad as my uncle, who I went to. It was a funeral a little while ago, and my uncle wasn't talking to me. I saw my cousin I've not seen in ages. So, Tara, how are you? And I saw my uncle there, and he went, "Oh, is that Jamie? He's got fat, hasn't he?" Talking to us, I'm like, "Oh,
like it's been a decade. What do you mean? Like it's
like I can hear you. I'm right here." But he just wouldn't look at me. But apparently he's just a bit like that. He just says what comes into his head. I think it might be a bit losing his mind a little bit, Get a bit dementia.
She's very blunt.
She was blunt.
Well, blunts are great, but that's a different kind of.
It was a backhanded compliment. You've actually got quite a nice smile. I'm like, yeah, you won't see it again, bitch. No, she was a nice enough girl. She was a bit funny.
That's
What
funny.
you gonna do?
I do agree, David. If someone has the bandwidth to do that and deal with us freezing and going back and grabbing each one and then composing new music or just putting a fun song to it, either one.
I would quite happily just go through and if you just watch all the videos again and try and find them all. So because we need those numbers. So,
you should do that. Live stream yourself doing it, so then you can have people watching you do it, and then you have the video after the fact.
Yeah.
You know, full circle.
I don't know if I've explained this, guys. I probably have done, but I live on a new housing estate. So this housing estate is only 2 years old. Yeah. But the company called Fibernest, I'm going to out them because they're crap. They actually put the cable down. They're the ones that do it. So, but as part of that deal, you have to then have Fibernest for 2 years. They're the only company that provide internet to me. So I emailed. So I've lived here over 2 years now. So I emailed the people that built the housing estate. When are you going to release us? Because I know they've released the first stage of the housing estate. Because when I look at Wi-Fi, I can see BT and stuff appearing. It's not just all Fibernest. And because as I keep saying, our internet is rubbish. It keeps failing. Please, love of God, let me out of this. And their email back was, don't know.
Don't know.
You don't know. Release me. Just free, release me.
Release.
They won't. I mean, it's been 2.5 years now, and my internet is crap.
Oh, Lord.
And expensive.
You can always get Matt to come over and put in some Ethernet for you.
It won't make any difference. It's not the Wi-Fi. It's the internet that's the problem. I do Ethernet. When we've got important things. Oh yeah, no, they replaced the router already. They've replaced it twice. But when I've got important Wi-Fi and I don't want the Wi-Fi to go down, like we will probably have to do on October 14th. Be there or be square is all I'm saying.
October 14th?
Yeah, don't shut up.
Where
are you October 14th?
I just got commissioned for a music video in Louisiana. I'm gonna be directing a music video. What's going on?
No way, that is cool.
Yeah.
You're invited anyway, so don't worry about it. You aren't coming on anyway.
Okay. I'll be watching in spirit.
You're watching in spirit. But I'm trying to arrange something that you can be involved in just before, which will be just as exciting. But I'm trying. I'm really trying. But anyway, so but the last time I did that, when I was on with the Shuttle podcast, guys, my internet still went down halfway through. It still paused and stuttered. So it's it's rubbish. But they've replaced the router twice now. But anyway, it is going to be very interesting when we're allowed to announce. Should be announcing soon.
Cool. But yes, Peter, everyone's a bit weird. I don't even remember exactly where it correlated to, but everyone's a bit weird. It's
probably the girl that told me I had quite a nice smile.
Good point. Yeah,
I'm a little bit weird.
Well, I think that's what makes us all quirky and fun and weird.
It's our kind of weird, though, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Damn right.
We've got to have our kind of weird.
Have you tried a comparison check?
Yeah, not allowed. That literally, it's only the company that I've got. No one is allowed to supply internet here yet.
That's
so
so weird.
It's painful.
Yeah.
It'd be okay if it worked, but it doesn't. So it's going to be very exciting, and we will. I can't say too much because it's not confirmed, but basically, what we're doing will potentially be behind a firewall. Yeah. So, but we'll make sure one thing gets around it anyway.
Don't you know? Just so we don't accidentally say something or anything. Shall we jump back into Stargate RoboCop?
Yeah.
Honestly, out of the three things that you mentioned that we put on the thumbnail, Stargate, RoboCop, Legally Blonde 3, RoboCop's going to be the furthest one out, huh?
Yeah, I think so, because as far as I know, they've not even started development.
That makes sense, because that's going to be a lot more, not necessarily, I think Stargate might be more meticulous in like figuring out lore and all that, but I think a story is easier to come up with for Stargate than RoboCop, where you could come up with 4 dozen different ideas and each one may have a good aspect to it. And then you got to figure out who's getting it.
Apparently, the idea for RoboCop is that it's going to be the movie that was supposed to be the sequel originally.
That's right. Okay.
Apparently there was a sequel that was written by the guy that wrote the original RoboCop. I think I'm right in saying this anyway. But then because the studio wanted it out really quickly, they didn't wait, and they went with a different script. So yeah, that's the idea. So in theory, they know what they're doing. But as far as I know, no development work has happened.
That's the thing. It's in theory. It typically is in theory. Yeah. RoboCop 2 is fun. There is a little funness to it, but it ain't the first one. It ain't the original. And the 2014, as much as I do like Joel Kinnaman as an actor, it ain't the same. It ain't even in the same ballpark, in the same rodeo. It's not like, oh, come on. But do you know what does look good? Just while we got some comments about it, the Continental John Wick spinoff this Friday.
I'm interested. I am intrigued. I've seen a couple of the build-ups to it. And yes, I'm going to be watching that with great interest because it feels like it's stripped back down to like what the first John Wick was rather than what John Wick 4 became.
Yes.
Which was, how many times are movies going to do that as well? That they get a bigger budget, so they go, well, we have to spend it all. We need a big, long CGI thing that is, I'm just like...
Well,
please don't.
I don't feel. I actually really enjoyed the fourth one. I like all 4 of them a lot. I think enjoyment, it goes 1, 3, 2, 4 for me, or maybe 1, 3, 4, 2. It just depends on the day you ask me. I don't blame them for using all their budget, because if someone's giving you that money and then you don't use it all, they either feel a little something about it, or they're like, well, maybe I shouldn't have given you that much, and maybe next time I won't either. And you're like, well, wait, I have this idea that's going to cost this, So I don't necessarily blame them for that. But it's a lot of the one thing with John Wick that's kind of made it iffy is it's all over. Like the producers, we talked about it on a stream this past week, was they all say it's taken place within like an 8-month time span. The first 3 movies were obviously back to back to back within the time span period. And then he's got to heal between 3 and 4, or heal between 3 and 4, excuse me. And that's, I mean, it was expansion sometimes for the sake of expansion. Because if all these things were in place at the beginning of these 8 months, I couldn't tell, Yeah. Maybe the Continental will make more sense for us and still be dialed back, because that's kind of what the reviews have said. It says it's standalone. It stands alone very, very well. And I like it being a 3-piece miniseries instead of some 8, 10, 12 episodes, something, or even longer than that. I like the 3 pieces of boom, boom, boom. It was like first act, second act, third act. Here we go. Yeah. It's kind of big. It's like another movie, but 3 hours. It's like a Lonesome Dove Continental instead of just another John Wick movie, which I like.
Yeah. Well, I just think the indestructible John Wick went a bit too far. And he dropped, 3 or 4 stories, bounced a truck. I know the French are ignorant as well, but none of those drivers stopped to see what was going on that big island.
I know.
They all just carried on driving and swerving and getting away. And I mean, I know this is an ignorant race of people, but
while there are people with like machine guns running in between cars and other people falling and hitting cars, the people that are getting hit, those cars keep going.
Yeah, just drive off. Makes no sense. And I've never known that going up a flight of stairs. I once broke my tailbone. Right, so I walked like a teddy bear for like straight legs, like and I could walk upstairs quicker than that. And it was just, it was just in parts. It was painful to watch that film, but I need to watch it again because I was so built up for it.
Yeah, I like the painful bits, I guess, but I also they're very hard to watch because it takes so long and there's so much brutality going on, and that's kind of, I guess, part of it.
Yeah.
But it does it keeps you in real time, which is not necessarily something the rest of the John Wick have done. So you feel that slowness. You feel the brutality more with it too, but it's just kind of like, all right, we knew this was going on. Like, jump up the stairs, or isn't there an escalator like 2 doors down or something? Like,
yeah. I mean, it did feel a bit like, just like, okay, we don't need to fall down the stairs again. You fell down once and had to start again. Funny. Third, fourth time, you're getting a bit silly now. Just walk up the damn stairs.
That's a bit much.
Yeah, it's just too much. But that was the problem. They over it. The beautiful thing about the original John Wick was that it was just there was no CGI, physical effects, and it was just a brutal action, simple movie. And that's just exactly what Nobody was. And we're getting a Nobody sequel, and they'll probably do it again.
I'm so excited for it. But
right.
they might. John Wick and Nobody did my favorite rule in the world. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. Keep it simple, stupid.
It was perfect. It was perfect because of it. But yeah. I am excited for the Continental. I mean, Mel Gibson's kind of one of my like dirty pleasures. Everything he does is excellent, and he might be a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs every now and then.
Yeah,
but he's a damn good actor, and he's an even better director. Like, I can't wait for the next directed Mel Gibson movie. Well, is the last one Hacksaw Ridge, I think?
Yeah,
which is just near perfect of a movie.
Yeah, it's good fun. He's had a bit of a renaissance, hasn't he? Mel Gibson. He went into the wilderness a little bit, but then he's matured, and I don't know. I don't know if maybe he realized he's not Mel Gibson anymore, and he's calmed down a little bit, because he's not going to be changed as he was, but maybe he got a bit drunk on his Mel Gibson-ness and the superstar that was Mel Gibson at the time, and he seems to have drawn it in a little bit, and his he's recaptured his career because of it. So it's going to be great, and I actually think Lethal Weapon Geriatric has half a chance of being okay. So
I would enjoy it. Danny Glover's a little bit old.
104 years old.
If not twice that.
He's too old to go to the toilet on his own. Never mind, he's too old for this shit. He's too old to go to the toilet on his own, full stop. Yeah. He's going carers. But it doesn't necessarily... Well, Mel Gibson's quite old. So let's see how that works.
He's still moving. He's still doing these action movies. Boss Level I saw part of, and that was fun.
It was good fun. I've seen all the Boss Level. It's good. Right, mate, I'm sorry. I do have to call it a night at 8. I am so sorry. But I have children's stuff to deal with. But
we'll kick them off their Xboxes.
No, it's homework and make sure they actually do it for once. So,
you can always just give them Chat GPT.
Yeah, I can do. It's been emotional as always, though, mate. Thank you so much for inviting me on. And what sort of numbers we've been getting out of interest?
We've had 10, 12, 13 people here all the time. I think 15, 16 was our peak.
Well, let's build this audience, guys. So share it with everybody. Tell them that, this is where you want to come for movie news and things, and let's build this audience.
Of course. We'll keep hanging out for a little bit, but while you're at it, while we're talking, like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. We appreciate it. But yeah, we'll hang out. And
I will see you next time.
Yes.
See you Sunday. Have a good one, guys.
Like a plan.
Bye.
Yos. All right. So now that we've gotten rid of Jay, I'm kidding. What shall we talk about? Because I came in here with an open mind and not necessarily a whole bunch of topics, which is kind of all right. But we got Stargate, we got Legally Blonde 3, we got RoboCop to talk about. Anything else y'all can think about for Amazon or Prime kind of based discussion? Whatever, we can always go back to a little Ahsoka, but Glover got shot in the butt too many times. Yes, Sokar. He is doing a sequel to Passion of the Christ, which is funny because Jim Caviezel is also doing a sequel to Sound of Freedom, which was good and an emotional movie, but there's a lot of controversy going around that. The guy that the character's based off of I don't think he was arrested, but he's not convicted either, but he was accused at least of sexual assault after a couple of the producers for the film getting I think actually jailed for like child pornography and things like that, which it's a movie about getting child pornography out of the world. And I don't know, every which way there's something heavy going on, and I guess the producer said we're making a sequel anyway, so they're doing that. They're doing a sequel to Passion of the Christ. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know if Mel Gibson's directing it though. We'll see. Too many old actors going on for too long. I don't think they're going on for too long necessarily. I think it's more so that they try to like Liam Neeson. He does Taken 1, 2, 3. You have this older action series, grizzled guy, like that's cool. But then you do half a dozen movies with the exact same plot, just changed. Like, okay, now we're doing it with a snowplow. Now we're on a boat. Now we're on a plane. And that's what he did. That's when it gets a little like, all right, like, come on. When it's Liam Neeson, use his voice, use his posture, his stoicness in general. Bring him in there, not necessarily play like Aslan or Qui-Gon Jinn and just walking around doing something like that, where it's not like as hard for him as a human being to be there on set and do all that kind of stuff. I think you could still use him like a normal actor, but let him play like the old king, like the king that has to die. Maybe he has some like cool villain roles that aren't truly necessary for him to be so physical in now. And that's the same for a lot of people. Danny Glover would be a great like evil king or a good king. Actually, Danny Glover would be much better as a good king, but like an old king and something. Or I don't know, I'm just using the king example at the moment, but anything, you can kind of apply that to a lot of roles where he could just be like the old guy that has to help out. John Hurt in Snowpiercer comes to mind. John Hurt played old characters for a long time, but he did it perfectly. And I feel like that's how a lot of these older actors should think about their careers, in that way. Harry Dean Stanton is another guy, but obviously Harry Dean Stanton had films still about him, but they weren't like action packed. Go do some indies. Go really test your acting chops whenever you're in these older ages and stages, maybe, where you don't need to go in there and you don't need to have so much action going on, so much punchy punch, shooty shoot, stabby stab, whatever it may be, or you could even go a magic route, have some of these guys, girls that are a little older and have them rely on something besides like Helen Mirren in Shazam 2. Shazam 2 may not have been great, and Helen Mirren did, I'm assuming she had a stunt double for her one little fall in the movie, but when she fell in the movie, like got knocked over by Lucy Liu, I was like, ooh, how's Helen Mirren doing after that, Definitely a freaking stunt double. But at the same time, if there's one fall in a movie, that's an easy thing to do. John Hurt, fucking brilliant as the War Doctor. Great in everything, but the War Doctor, like, is so good. So good. De Niro de-aged in The Irishman, but still moved like an old man. Exactly, yeah. And that's, I think, kind of what Sokar was hitting on originally, and whoever else, I guess, commented. There are a few that I need to catch up on. And Peter, yeah. We went from Sokar to Peter. Yeah, I think there are ways to have older people completely play. I mean, like anything Michael Caine. Michael Caine is kind of a perfect example for that. Whenever he hit a certain age, he stopped trying to be that leading man. And if he does a leading man kind of thing, it's a much more subtle role. It's a much more independent film kind of role typically versus some big blockbuster that usually requires someone a little more physical and younger. Yeah, I think part of that is people having to come down off of their high horses in their old age and allowing a new guard to come in and be able to play these more physical, these roles that require and negate a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of thought, et cetera, where it's kind of hard to do that whenever you're older, or it's not necessarily hard to do that, but it is definitely harder than it was at a certain point in life. And it's just tossing a lot. Don't tell Liam Neeson that. He'll come find you. He can try. That old man, he can try. You know what? There's never been a Taken movie against a Texan. And I ain't doing anything to be like, I'm not taking anybody or doing anything like that, but he can try. I know the Scotsmans are good and all, but I'm a Texas boy. You're going to have to try a little harder than that. I shoot first. Sorry. Just watched Bestsellers. Enjoyed it. LOL SoCar. Best De Niro movie. Oh. I don't freaking know, but you know what that's super underrated that comes to mind is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. A lot of people forget that he played Victor Frankenstein's monster in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And that's one of the more physical roles that he's ever taken on, and a role that he does have some semi-smaller roles that he plays an out there kind of character, a very zany kind of fun character. But Frankenstein, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is I like it. I like it a lot. It's I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's very underrated. You SoCar. You shoot first. Yeah, the Kennedys know that. Hey, that wasn't a Texan, although LBJ was involved with some Texas gangsters and stuff. It was either gangster stuff or most likely the CIA. That's the government, you know. Anyway. In Texas, it would just be easier for him to get a gun and wouldn't take as long to find you. Oh yeah, but how many guns do I have? The second I enter state lines in Texas, I'm much more well armed than I am in California. I can tell you that. So if you found me in California, I got a couple baseball bats I'll fight back with, but maybe some lightsabers now that I'm actually doing lightsaber motions. But more than one shooter for sure. Oh yeah. For Kennedy. But back on De Niro. I don't know. What are y'all's favorite De Niro films? I think the most underrated one would be Mary Shelley's Frankenstein for me. Oh, The Deer Hunter's great. Oh. I don't know my favorite De Niro. I'd have to really think about that one. But for most underrated, I would say Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Yeah. So yeah, y'all get in the comments. Let me know. Favorite Robert De Niro? Most underappreciated or underrated Robert De Niro? Because he does have a lot. He really has a lot of great films. I could do the same thing with Mel Gibson. My favorite film ever is Braveheart, just because it's just I grew up with it. If it's on TV, I watch it. I love the score. I love the cast. I understand. I love the story and the setting and everything like that. I understand the story is not accurate to real times. To a degree, it is. And I do wish they would have leaned into, and I like the scenes of William Wallace in Braveheart shooting the deer and hunting the deer, and the little Irishman saving his life and all that kind of stuff, because it really depicts William Wallace as the possible Robin Hood that he was, because a lot of people don't realize Robin Hood very well may have been based off of William Wallace. There are a couple other theories and stuff, but I really like that one. That's one that I tend to subscribe to. Brazil is great. Analyze This. Brazil director's cut. Ooh. Mary Shelley's was brilliant. I agree. Kennedy shot himself from the grassy knoll. It was in Red Dwarf, so it must be true. Hey, if Red Dwarf said it, it's got to be true. It has to be. Real quick, did I miss any other? I did miss some. That's funny. I changed my name from Gamer Beans. SoCar should have been a bigger character in Stargate and SG-1. He looked awesome, as did his Jaffa. Oh, okay, Gamer Beans. I recognize Gamer Beans, but I totally agree with that. SoCar was awesome. There was a lot of them. Harry Tuttle, supporting role in Joker. Oh, De Niro. Yeah, I was like, who are we talking about? De Niro. That was really good. That's another little underappreciated one. It's one that you don't think about because Joaquin Phoenix, you know. But he had a nice little role. He had a nice little role there. We will get you to watch Red Dwarf one day. What was the order of things? I've been watching Foundation, and I really haven't been watching much either. I still have, I think, 3 or 4 episodes left. I've watched very little TV this past week. which is probably good. Probably a good thing. Much less than I usually do. But I've only watched 4 episodes of TV. Well, only Murders in the Building, new episode. Futurama, new episode. So I've watched a whole 6 episodes of TV in the past week, which I usually watch 2 or 3 times that, you know? What were... Ooh, The Untouchables is fantastic. What I'm thinking, though, I can't remember what order we came up with, because I was going to watch Sopranos, I was going to watch Red Dwarf, one other. We had 4, 5, 6 of y'all in here. Do y'all remember? Sopranos, Red Dwarf. Was it sci-fi based? It wasn't Farscape, was it? Oh, I'm waiting to binge Only Murders. Oh, don't binge it. Just enjoy it. Actually, right now would be the perfect time to binge it. Binge all the first 9 episodes, because this new episode was awesome. It was really good. Very different than like a typical Only Murders episode, but I think it was better for that, you know? If I could suggest something, totally watch it now, so that week you can watch. So next week, whenever the 10th episode, the season finale comes out, then you can kind of like dial in and be like, oh my God, I'm watching it with everybody, and it's great. Red Dwarf doesn't require huge engagement. Yeah, but that's one of the reasons, I guess, it's kind of been nice watching just a few episodes of TV this week. Was I'm ADD as can be, and the second I lose focus, squirrel. I mean, Doug from Up is like the epitome of my brain sometimes, you know? So I try to focus on something when I'm watching it, and I try to put my full engagement there. But of course, you know, sometimes I'm eating, sometimes I'm doing half and other things. Sopranos is must see. That's what I think I'm going to start with. I think it's Sopranos, but there was something else. It wasn't Doctor Who, Mark. I know y'all are trying. I just can't do it. That's too many episodes. Red Dwarf literally only gets to be watched because it's not so many episodes those first few seasons. It kind of just makes it more manageable. Maybe one. You know what? Elon Musk, that guy, he tweeted about Neuralink going into actual human trials today. Don't think of it as 872 episodes. Think of it as 40 seasons. I don't know if that helps. I don't know if that helps at all. That might be even more daunting. Because 872 episodes, I'm like, well, Stargate had like 210, so, you know, or 200 episodes or whatever in 10 seasons, and they had a little more than 200. So, like, the episodes, I think, actually make more sense there. But 40 seasons, oh. Didn't like the latest episode of Futurama, the worst of the season. Excuse me. You know, Cape Fear is great as well. Cape Fear is great. Futurama hey, you can call me a Futurama shill. I don't mind. I love Matt Groening and David X. Cohen's work. But this is just really not hitting me the way I wanted it to. Excuse me again. There were parts of this last episode that I thought were creative, but not great. Nothing legitimately good that made me like really. Nothing piqued my interest per se, and I just don't get it. They're so good at doing that, and this is right after Disenchantment. Okay, so I guess I did watch a couple more episodes of TV across. Well, that was more like 2 or 3 weeks, whatever. But Disenchantment is the fantasy version of Futurama, Simpsons, or whatever. It is basically just a Matt Groening show, but David X. Cohen is also a developer for it. It's excellent. The series just ended on its 5th season, and I cannot suggest going to see Disenchantment more. Not going to see, but going to Netflix to watch it because it's a Netflix show. It was so good. It ends emotionally, but funnily, heartfelt. It's legitimately amazing what they did. And then Futurama comes out on Mondays, and I'm just like, oh well, here we are again, and rubber duckies, and like it's creative. I like that this episode was creative, and if the other episodes would have been better and had creativity, but kind of focused on their cool sci-fi aspects of stuff instead of just commenting on modern 2020 kind of stuff. They're not in the 2020s. This is, I know they comment on modern things going on, but there are ways to do it without feeling like the shows in the 2000s while being set in the 3000s. You know, did I say that right? That makes sense. 60 years. I know that's just a lot. It's just a lot. It was Mexican cartel drama of some sort. Oh no, we were talking Mayans. I don't know if I've already watched Mayans, but we were talking Mayans, and it's Mayans and Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy is still my favorite show ever. I think Mayans is not, but it's not far behind. I just don't know where I would rank all my favorite shows, kind of deal, and I don't know exactly where I would put it. It didn't hit the same way Sons of Anarchy did, but it hit in its own way super well. Spin-off series. Yeah, we were talking some spin-off series of that. Ignore the additional 900 plus additional audio. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Ronin on that one. More of the individual episode, more of like the Ronin Samurai, just the one. How about anything with one season that sounds good to watch? That was a lot. You weren't joking about the Passion sequel. Mel Gibson's doing the story about Jesus visiting hell after dying before he ascends to heaven. I knew the whole Jesus story is fiction, but crazy sequel. That's insane. So Mel Gibson is directing it? Oh, damn. That answers multiple questions. Oh, wow. Whew. Well, you know what? They're going down to hell, so another maybe one of the best, if not definitely one of the better Robert De Niro movies. Heat. Bring on the heat. But I mean, hellish heat. That's a little bit different than a movie heat, of course. But damn, yeah. So we're gonna get Passion of the Christ 2, Sound of Freedom 2. I'm guessing for him directing it as well. Will the church step in? Nah. He's Mel Gibson's past that level, I think. I don't know if because just actual church related. And actually, which church would it be? Would it be the Catholic Church? Would it be some Protestant church? I don't know exactly who the church is in that scenario. I don't know if like straight up the Vatican's contacted him or if it's some like Protestant thing. And if that's the case, who the original the church loves so much. Did they? I was born right after that, so or maybe like while I was in theaters, one of the two. Is it a 99 film? They would try if it was in the UK. The original Passion of the Christ. What year was that? I want to say it's 99. If it's not, it's 98. $2004. Oh my god. Really? I was 5? I didn't watch it when I was 5. I know that much. But wow. The Vatican will have something to say, that's for sure. I just don't know if they're going to actually have like a say in the film itself, you know? I'm not sure. He's getting the story from Christianity somewhere. He's hardcore crazy Christian. Yeah, he can be. But hey, you know, they're hardcore crazy everybody in every religion, so I choose to look at the art more than the person, or at least I try to most of the time. Most of the time. 90% of the time. 99% of the time, hopefully. But yeah, no. I just don't know if the church itself will have say or sway within the Passion of the Christ sequel. That's interesting. I wouldn't think so. But if Mel Gibson is directly asking their help, possibly. Unlike Christianity itself, which made everything ended up, Gibson isn't making this up. It's from the religion. Yeah. Well, we could get into that a whole different day. I used to be very religious, and now I'm not so religious. I'm much more agnostic in the sense of like, I don't know what the hell's out there. There's got to be something though, and that's kind of the epitome of my belief system. There is I don't know, but I'd like to learn. I'm going to keep asking questions until I do, or maybe put myself on the right path, something like that, whatever that may be. I think the best path is still just kind of living in a way of not necessarily not knowing, but in a way of everything's open possibility. Possibility is probably a good way of just summarizing it. Copyright is definitely expired on Christian. 100 years is up, but is that for the King James Bible or any of the other 24, if not more? There's so many different versions of it. Anyway, we could get into a whole whatchamacallit. I'm not sure the current Pope's too healthy. I'm not sure any of the popes were all that healthy. Get somebody in their 40s or 50s, not like 80s. Like, anyway. Out of the religion. Let's jump back to movies. Well, while I'm thinking about it real quick, we did a like, comment, subscribe, so do all that good stuff. But always follow Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all the same thing right there. If you're feeling like it, I will always be terrible about remembering to do that. But you know what? I'm getting there. Popes don't get elected unless they are on death's doorstep. That's also true. Bill and Ted had it spot on. Be excellent to each other. Yes. Be excellent to each other. Damn right. Like, it fits my rule, my KISS rule. Keep it simple, stupid. Just be excellent to each other. It's always simplicity is kind of the way to live a lot of the times. And, I'm a simple guy sometimes. I like it. I like that. Or at least when I'm not simple, I like to lean into simplicity. Oh lordy, here we go. More Pope stuff. Popes are elected when they're closer to God that way. Oh, I get it. But like, wouldn't a monk or something be just as close? Someone that's like lived their life devoted. I don't know. That gets iffy. All I know is yes, be excellent to each other. That sentence worked better than I wanted it to. I was gonna say all I know is the Pope is essentially a demigod, and that has I was never a Catholic. I don't agree with Catholicism at all. It's actually I'm not going to use the word disgusting, but it is abhorrent in some places. But every religion is, So I don't like how. Anyway, you read about Frankism, read about other things. Read about the Dead Sea Scrolls, read about the old meetings that actually what are they called? What are they called? Where is this stuff? Do I have it right here? No, I thought I had some something saved somewhere. There were meetings where they decided where all the holidays would be, where everything, which is totally like it's BS. Every single date within the entire religion is arbitrary because of these meetings. Like a bunch of heads of churches got together and they were like, okay, well, here are our new days because it fits within our calendar year kind of deal. It's a lot. Religious influence is insane, especially these days. Yeah, I was raised Catholic, but been an atheist for 20 years. Religion is abhorrent. There's Gnostic gospels. Religion is abhorrent. But religion is also one of the best things on this planet. It's something that guides people to do good things. But what is good? And if your definition of good is different than mine, who's to say who's right? The law? Who's to say the law's right? The law was based on a subset of opinions, whether it was a mass subset of opinions or a smaller subset of opinions. It's all so iffy. The fact that everyone knows the 7 deadly sins but don't know the 10 cardinal virtues tells you everything about Catholicism. Well, yeah, the 7 deadly sins aren't in the Bible. That's not even technically Christian. Like the 7 deadly sins are completely just a man-made homogenous little idea, I guess. So, and it's just applied to it. Nobody understands or learn. Yeah. Anyway. Most religions are responsible for horrendous atrocities throughout history. People can be religious, but learn from the mistakes of the past. Totally, I'm with you there. Good people will do good things, bad people will do bad things, but for good people to do bad things, it takes religion. Not necessarily religion, but I do agree with you. I think it's belief. Excessive belief is something that people will do bad things for, even though they're good people sometimes. They will go against their morals because this belief is told them to. And yeah, religion can kind of reach into that sometimes. Just talk about the Crusades. Talk about some of the stuff going on in the Middle East right now, where subsects of the same religion have been fighting each other for decades upon decades, if not hundreds of years, hundreds of thousands of years. Not hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of years, more like thousands of years. I'm hyperbolating a little bit. Christmas replaced the pagan winter solstice. Yes. And okay, are y'all familiar with Zoroastrianism at all? Like Zoroaster is straight up Jesus before Jesus. Like the entire Christianic religion is Zoroastrianism, just reinvented a little bit for another more modern age. I wonder what's next, straying into YouTube ad area. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's hop off this topic. Even though it is infinitely interesting and we can dive further and further, this would be more for a Patreon stream or a members only stream or anything like that. We just got to get those going first, Freddie Mercury. Yes. Was Freddie Mercury a Zoroastrian? Is that where that came from? Yes, Christianity has its origins in Zoroastrianism. Yeah, they're not straight up the same thing, but they are pretty close to identical copies. But yeah. Was Freddie Mercury Zoroastrian? I don't know. Yeah. Because Jesus never existed. He can be depicted, however. Well, isn't there? Yeah, he was. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. I mean, it makes more sense when you see that. Another one bites the dust. We came full circle right there. That was sweet. That was cool. But anyway, let's get off of religion. Let's go back to sci-fi. Let's go back to sci-fi strikes, unions, Amazon, Prime, whatever the hell we want to talk about. What are you thinking? Shiites and Sunni hate each other much like Protestants and Catholics. It's crazy. Yeah, totally. And they're all willing to go to war over it. And it's just like you're all good friends. Why go to war? Who wants to live forever? Honestly, just from that question alone, I don't understand the reference. Sorry, Quest. But actually, before I think about this, Continental. We're doing afterthoughts on Continental. It's probably going to be just me because the episode releases at midnight on Friday. So like as Friday comes over, John Campea had a good take on residuals. Very interesting. John Campea's take on residuals is chef's kiss because there's not another industry in the world that has that work. And I understand that these films continue to make money after the fact. But if you've been bought outright, that's one thing. Obviously, the residuals would have to play into that a little bit. Why don't set designers, costume designers, prop masters, any of these people that are on the films, on the TV shows, almost sometimes 10, 12 times as long as any actors there, why don't they get residuals? Why don't extras get residuals? Extras have their faces on screen. They're immortalized in certain ways. I'd like to get some extras for some stuff. Hey, Euphoria. I mean, residuals for some glorified extra work. Hey, Euphoria. Hey, a couple of the other things. Hey, Penny Dreadful. I mean, there are a few things I'm in that I wouldn't mind some residuals in, even if it were 50 cents, Anyway, very brave take from him. Very brave. Him doing that has been one of the reasons why I've kind of been like, well, let me not necessarily keep my silence per se, because I don't like the way these unions are handling it. I've never liked the way the unions have handled just about anything. They're definitely not handling things well now. And I'm not saying the studios are handling things well either. But it takes two hands to tie a shoe, right? You can't do it with one. It takes two hands to tie a shoe, and neither the studios nor particularly the unions want to go meet in the middle anywhere. The studios literally don't have as much space to give up things. They're saying profits. Like, if we give up this, we give up profits, which means you don't get paid in the long run, or we're paying you out of our own pockets, and then our studio gets taken down. We're not the 100-year studio anymore. We're a 2-year studio. Like, with what they're asking, if residuals were handled the way the unions are asking them to be handled right now, not a single big studio would still be here in the next 5 years. 10 years for sure. Some people might argue that's a good thing. I don't think destroying the legacy of these companies, even if these companies haven't always been good, I don't think destroying the legacy of everyone that has ever worked there and put their love, put their time, put their effort are worth destroying. And that's kind of where we're at, honestly. And it's spooky. Unless you get Skechers slip-ons or slip-ins. I don't know why my brain goes immediately to the what is it? The Skechers shape-ups for old people, where they get a little bit of a rock while they walk. I'm like, isn't that bad for old people? But it does give them a little more exercise, so it's good. Just make sure you got good balance while you're shaping up, Skechers. Amazon will thankfully keep filming all over the world, so we'll keep getting content. Yeah. Okay. GamerBeans / SoCar. Not content. That's something that I really want to. I've tried to be a little more pertinent about, but these are projects. Content is what we're doing right now. Content is YouTube, but YouTube can also have projects. You know, for these big productions, these are people's livelihoods. You know, that's like a project that they've put a lot of brain power into, a lot of like bandwidth and all kinds of stuff. Blood, sweat, tears, et cetera, et cetera. I think they deserve to have the differentiation between hopping on a live stream. I didn't know what we were going to talk about today. Jay was like, I've got some Stargate stuff to talk about and some other stuff, Amazon Prime based, but Stargate stuff to talk about. And I was like, all right, well, I'm coming in here with an open mind, and we're going to have a fun conversation for a while, which we have had. That is content. This is content. It didn't require. I mean, usually, I guess it's not a project. Even whenever I prepare like a 4, 5, 6 different topics to talk about, 2 or 3 topics to talk about, whatever that is, it requires a little bit of time and effort. But I literally am scouring the night before and the morning of, okay, so what articles are popular right now? What's going on? What is necessary to talk about right now for today? And it's not these things that these people are planning out long sets and times and dates over for long periods of time. They're planning these things out. It doesn't just happen, I guess, over the course of a morning per se. But yeah. There's my little spiel there. Most of the big studios are in massive debts. They are. Nothing for you or anything. That's just my brain. I try to put it out there into the ether, you know? But most of the big studios are in massive debts. And if the actors and writers want to act and write for these studios, because you don't see them jumping on, like, I love A24 and I love Neon and I love these smaller companies that are doing the things that the actors and writers want them to do. And booyah, thank y'all for that. I do appreciate that. I love that. And it makes for a more inclusive workspace in like a simplistic kind of way. It makes it where everybody can work together without, you know, there being some kind of something going on, I guess. But if the actors and writers actually look at what they're asking for, all of these studios that are already in debt, they're literal. They are in debt to make up that. That's like just part of the industry. Is you're spending. Where are they going to get their money back if it's all going to everybody else? And yeah, I don't necessarily think David Zaslav needs to have $250 million salary. I don't think a lot of these people do. Lower their salary a little bit. Tom Brady it, take one for the team. Have $150 million or $180 million instead of 260. But that's not why the company wouldn't be making money that year. If you want to put that into perspective, Fast X costs more than what David Zaslav is making year by year. There's a lot of compare, contrast, correlative things that it's just studio debts have never been this bad, I think. Yeah, so to do that now would be disastrous. Nothing to stop actors writing or making their own shows. If they're part of the WGA, then they're not technically allowed to write. But if they're not, and nothing's stopping them, realistically. But yes, thumbs up, y'all. Come on. Help that old algae rhythm, There's a reason these production companies have started YouTube channels. Let's put it that way. Precisely. Part of that is because content is a lot more easy to make and a lot more digestible a lot of the times than a project is, and they can make a lot of money here in the process of making projects, and rightfully so. I'm still laughing. My eyes went back up to the Skechers slip-ins. I'm imagining the commercials with old people rocking while they're walking, and it always cracks me up. They've made me laugh when I was younger. Did I miss something? Oh, that's right. We were going to say, who wants to live forever? We can if you want to keep talking residual strikes, unions, whatever, we can keep talking. Hit me with some comments. Hit me with some questions. We'll go for it. But who wants to live forever? I'll take a hot take on this one. I would. I know I would live past all of my loved ones now, but I could follow my family tree in a way, which would be interesting. Maybe not play God or anything, or not even play puppeteer, but I'd watch it from a distance. You could obviously be like, yeah, you don't do that, or you do this, or you do that, and kind of steer them the right way, but that wouldn't be cool. Honestly, if a vampire were to come in here and be like, you want to be a vampire? I'd be like, yes, please. Here's my neck. The Highlander doesn't. He doesn't want to live forever. No. But my process of thought behind that is human beings are simply highly intelligent, adaptable bags of flesh and water. So if we are just intelligent, adaptable bags of flesh and water, I could just keep learning. As long as my brain has the input capability to keep putting in information, I'm here. I'd be here. Can you imagine 1,000-year-old? Oh God, anybody though, anybody. I'm not even gonna put that on the screen. We don't need to bring up those names to rile the folk up. But 1,000-year-old anybody would be nasty. If that's why I said vampire. I'd like to stop aging. That'd be kind of nice too. YouTube should actually show all the classic UK public service announcements ads. Hey, honestly, without YouTube Premium, that would kind of make sense. Oh God. What did Peter say up here? YouTube advertising revenue is massive. Lots of their ads would be illegal in the UK. Yeah. Well, and that's when you could replace it with those. It makes sense. Or just do yourself a favor. Get yourself YouTube Premium and no ads ever. It's YouTube Premium is arguably, and I'd be one of the ones to argue for, that it's better than cable. I think it might be better than cable. There's infinite more content, because a lot of cable is content. One TVs and shows, yes. Some of those reality shows I would not consider projects. Sometimes maybe some are like Survivor or Bear Grylls or some large kind of game kind of deal. But if we're talking, you can tell where I'm from if my first reality show I mentioned is Duck Dynasty. But if you're talking Duck Dynasty, the Kardashians, whatever the hell they are up in New Jersey, with not Cookie, Snooki, whatever the hell her name is. all that kind of stuff. That ain't no project to me. That is straight up just content for content's sake. The Bachelor stuff, content. Well, that's a bit of a project as well, but realistically, it's content because they're not relying on anybody. I hate reality TV shows. They really do. There's nothing about me that likes them. And that is one of the reasons I would say YouTube is so much better than cable, is because there's reality here and true reality. There's filtered reality. There's literally any and everything you could have. I watch more YouTube than anything else. I definitely do as well. I mean, the numbers are probably terrifying. I probably don't turn off YouTube. I always have like an ambiance kind of thing or ambiance kind of thing going on at night to sleep. Like lately, I've been playing a lot of Starfield, which Quest, I know we've been kind of lacking the last couple of days. I'm gonna try to play tonight. Not entirely positive about that. My old Italian neighbor is coming into town, and I probably have to go to LAX to pick her up pretty soon here, honestly. We'll see. I'm gonna try it. Depending on her schedule as well, because I don't want to just sit in my living room and take up the entire living room and be like, shh, quiet. I'm streaming, like but reality TV shows came out of the last writer's strike. They did. And thankfully, it doesn't seem like a whole bunch are popping up right now. I feel like part of that is people realize YouTube would be the better place for reality. It's more consistent money, I guess, as well. Someone was talking about it was up here. I swear I saw something. Yeah, YouTube advertising revenue is massive. Lots of okay. I just read the first sentence. I was getting a couple things confused. But YouTube revenue is massive, and it really can be. And if you're following all their little rules that they want you to follow, you can make some money. You can make some money, and these studios are realizing that. I think that is probably one of the big reasons we haven't seen a bunch of new reality shows. The only reality show that I've seen that's been popping up that's new is that what is it? The Old Person Bachelor. I got nothing to do besides shake my head right there. Hey. Kick them out of the living room. Well, she just got off of or she's probably about to get off of a. I think it's a 13-hour flight. Yeah, 13-hour flight. It was an hour less than how long it was to fly from Houston to Qatar. YouTube TV, baby. Hey, I have YouTube TV as well. And that truly is the best variation of cable I think we have at the moment, because it bridges the gap to a degree. Not a whole bunch, but it bridges the gap to a degree, which is nice. We've got so many reality shows and new ones starting over the next month or so. Oh God, really? I saw them on the calendar list of new shows and season start dates and times. Ooh. Find me on like Twitter or something and DM me that list. That'd be really cool. Just so I could know about them, and we can make fun of them on stream. I'm not gonna actually watch any of them. We're not gonna make fun of them too much either, but I like to stay up to date with what's going on. $7 billion a quarter makes TV revenue look pathetic. YouTube is the future. They all realize that. A lot of us realize it as well, but don't necessarily like realize. We just spend a lot of our time here. Like the same amount of time we used to spend on TV is definitely spent on YouTube as a collective, and rightfully so. There's straight up movies and TV on here, actual movies and TV shows, and there are people on YouTube making movies and TV shows, webisodes, web-series. There's all kinds of things. Like YouTube probably brought about the web series, and YouTube is definitely like at fault for there no longer being a web series anymore, because it's just TV on YouTube now. News broadcasters use YouTube. Yeah, they do. They really do. I mean, some of the biggest people that get information out there to people in the world use YouTube. And if not, a podcasting type of something in general. YouTube podcasts and things like that in general are obviously taking over the the zeitgeist of what we're used to. Rightfully so. But I'm still not convinced cable's gone just yet. I'm still not convinced the traditional streaming or traditional viewing places to watch are completely gone just yet. Like Disney just made their deal with Spectrum, and we talked about that. Is cable back? That was literally last Wednesday, I think. Maybe. I mean, look how quickly we're changing our tune, but at the same time, that's a lot of money. It's not $7 billion a quarter type of money, but there's a lot of millions, hundreds of millions on that, maybe billions. So I don't know. All right, there are a couple I need to catch up on. IMDb streaming list for September had a lot of streaming shows and more expected. Oh yeah, IMDb is easy. Thank you. I watch more YouTube than anything else by far, though I'm in the car all day, 8 to 10 hours a day, 7 hours a week, except this week. An Iowa Regional Burning Man event starts tomorrow. Are you going, Mark? You going, my friend? I've never been to a Burning Man of any variety, I guess, but they are right up my alley. There was enough product already produced prior to the strikes that we still have content, unlike in 2008, where almost everything was being produced as it was being aired in the later parts of seasons. True. The environment around filmmaking and television making is very different than what it was. And I think that is keeping us at bay. But over the next 2 months, 3 months, I think after Loki, what the hell else is coming out? You know, I think that's whatever after Ahsoka, after Loki, I think is kind of when these big companies are kind of done with stuff. There's going to be Amazon Prime with Gen V, which I need to figure out exactly how we're going to do. Real quick, while y'all are here, give me a Y or an N in chat. Yes or no, obviously. Real quick, just yay, nay. Should we do 2 afterthoughts? One for Continental and one for Gen V? Or no? Because I'm doing Continental because it's only 3 episodes, one way or another. But should we do both? Yay or nay? YN. Yes, no. Yay, nay. I don't know any Y's and N's that fit with that as well. But yeah, I'm thinking about that. Real quick, while y'all are Ying or inning in there, we will continue to catch up. BBC will try to license YouTube soon if they haven't already tried. Yeah, screw that. Sorry, BBC. No government's taking over YouTube. That'd be stupid for them to actually allow that. Hell no, BBC. No. Outdated. You might do some cool stuff, but you're outdated. Catch up with the world, my friends, at the BBC. Also, you can interact in some YouTube channels like this one. Yeah, it's so much nicer. You're engaged with it. It's the way of the future. It's the way of the future. It's the way the past probably should have worked. You know, I'm hoping someone will finally pick up Snowpiercer season 4. That would be nice. I that's one that I might. Should I do Sopranos Snowpiercer, Red Dwarf? Or if I can't remember what the hell the other third thing was, I'll watch Red Dwarf after Sopranos. I feel like there was something important though, or semi-important. Like I should be watching it. Streaming reality TV shows. Yes. I'm department lead and my girlfriend is lead coordinator for this one. Hell yes. That's gonna be a fun Burning Man. Percy Jackson. I will be doing a Percy Jackson afterthoughts whenever that airs. I love me some Percy Jackson. I read all the Percy Jackson books. I read all the Roman books. No, I read all the Egyptian books, and I read 3 of the Roman books. And I really liked how Rick Riordan put them all together, and I hope this is setting it up for a much broader, wider world, because it actually is very rich in ancient history, modern history, and a beautiful way of bridging the gap. And it's very informative for young folk that don't necessarily know. It's a good way of learning history with a twist kind of deal, I guess, and intriguing them enough to go back and learn the actualities of that history. I love it. I never saw the films, but the trailer for Percy Jackson looked good. You don't need to see the films. Although the first one is fun. The second one, I was going to say, if you get really baked, it's not too bad. Shall we end this with the smoke stream? Just a question. Oh, I shouldn't do that. I'd love to do more smoke streams. We're gonna have to whenever we get monetized. So like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, do all that good stuff. Whenever we get monetized, whenever we get that 500, I'm gonna have YouTube membership stuff, and I think I will have like just a really cheap version of it, like 99-cent kind of thing, and that way we can do some smoke streams. We can do some smoke streams without us being kicked off or kicked out or poo-pooed upon, whatever you want to say. Oh, poo-pooed upon, that bad choice of words there. But do y'all remember the what would it be called? Mustard or something? Do y'all remember the sauce of that is an hour early. My old Italian neighbor just landed, and I'm like 45 minutes to an hour from the airport. Oops. I'm gonna have to figure that out here in a minute. So no smoke stream. That's my answer right there. But we will get back to smoke stream soon. As soon as that 500 mark is hit and we're able to do that, I'll play around with it and we'll get going with it. Sci-fi theme this year, creeping through the cosmos. Ooh, send pictures in the SciTrek group chat, please. Haul ass. I wish I could, but you can't in LA traffic. I try. It's difficult without some dumbass hitting you. Probably. Have I watched the new Justified? I haven't watched the old Justified. It's one that I've always wanted to watch, though. Justified and Deadwood are both things that I should have watched and just never got around to. Go. Why does that make me want to say, like, go Diego, go? Go Diego, go, which is always the better version of Dora, by the way. But out. See you later. Yeah. I mean, I'm still here for a couple minutes because she may just have to Uber. I feel bad and I hate doing that, but that might be the case or not. She's just gonna be waiting in an airport for maybe an hour plus. Because this is I don't know why, but 12 to 2 is all. There's 7 to 9 a.m. Good luck on the streets of Los Angeles. There's noon to like 2. Good luck on the streets of Los Angeles. And then there's 4 to 6, and it's just like that. If you thought the other two were bad, that's like those two put together. But noon to 2 and 7 to 9 ain't great. I can make it out. I could try. It still has to taxi to the terminal. Actually, I think she just walks outside because she's coming from International. International is really good. I was thinking of Forrest Gump. Run, Forrest, run! Or go, Forrest, go! That's probably better than the Diego reference. She has customs. Duh! She just walks out onto the thing, but she still has customs. That's a good point. Run, Forrest, run! Okay, real quick. Were there any other ones that I needed to catch up on before we jump out of here? I don't watch discussion episodes. I just don't have time. Yeah, that's okay. There was another show, but I can't remember. Okay, so we have 2 Y's and 2 N's. Well, okay, Peter didn't necessarily say N because he doesn't watch them. So we have 1 N and 2 Y's. If we do both, I need to figure out how we're going to do Gen V because my priority would be the Continental. But Gen V, I might do Friday during the day, and then Continental I watch as it airs at midnight, and we just stay up a little late and do like 30, 45 minutes to an hour on that. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards, and that may or may not allow Schmook to have availability to come in for the Gen V stream as well. We shall see. I will pitch it to him. He'll pitch something back to me. We'll maneuver and figure it out, and we'll keep you posted. We shall keep you posted. But this has been an excellent stream. Jamie for the first half was great. We've lasted an entire hour without him. We're just talking. We talked religion. We talked movies. We talked striking. We talked unioning. We talked all kinds of stuff. It was pretty great. Wait, I used to own a livery service picking up people at the airport. Rona killed you. You can still make it. All right. I of course delivery service, but I really like how it's a delivery. Livery's fun. But I'm gonna hurry. I'm gonna rush that way. All right. So thank y'all. Real quick before I head out of here, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Share it to your people. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. All right there, the same thing. I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Y'all my people. I will be back. I think we're gonna do a Film News Friday. I think Monday, Wednesday, Friday have been more consistent streams, like streaming times to shoot for. So I'm gonna make sure we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the time being. And there's just not that much news. I'd love to do Tuesdays and Thursdays as well, but it almost requires more shows airing, all kinds of stuff. But we'll get back into the thick of it as time goes on. But for now, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, y'all know how to do it. And doubly up on Friday, maybe tripling up on Friday with afterthoughts at the moment. It's gonna be fun. People are cattle, Laura. I liked livery. I did too. I liked it. Livery picks up people, not food. Yeah, or both, a glorified taxi. Well, Uber's a glorified taxi, and they're so much better, glorified taxis are glorified for a reason. Anyway, LOL, Silgar. People are like cattle, though. I'm a fan of that. All right, well, we're rolling this outro. Thank y'all again for being here. I appreciate it. If you're just popping in, catch up. There's a lot to be talking about and catching up on. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your week. And I will see you soon. Hopefully on GCubed this evening. Keep an eye out on GCubed. But I'll see you soon. Thank y'all. Adios.